Continuing now with our top story, the growing anger in Ferguson, Missouri. Since the shooting of 18-year-old Michael Brown roughly 2 weeks ago, many self-proclaimed civil rights activists have been stoking the racial fire, suggesting that the unarmed teenager was shot because he was black.
We have had enough. The issue is how a young man with no deadly threat, no life-extenuating circumstances, was shot multiple times. That's the issue, and that's the issue America's got to deal with. We don't want no double talking. We don't want no backsliding. We want to know where justice is.
And according to a new Pew poll, 80% of black Americans agree, saying the case in Ferguson raises important issues about race, but only 37% of whites agree with that statement. So, is the trouble in Ferguson just being exploited by the likes of Al Sharpton, or do the protesters have a legitimate beef? Joining us now from Washington, D.C. to analyze, Fox News contributor Juan Williams. Juan, when you hear that soundbite, it's got to make your head explode. Really? Is that helpful with what's going on in Missouri and, frankly, around the country? Is that helpful?
I think it is helpful to say that we need justice here. We need a clear, transparent investigation, just as you just heard Bill O'Reilly call for. I think everybody wants that, Eric.
Okay, what about the new Black Panther Party, where they're actually calling for the life of Darren Wilson, the cop who shot Michael Brown, before we even know what's actually going on? We don't know the facts yet, as Bill points out.
Eric, I don't even know why we talk about this. I mean, even the old Black Panthers think those people are a bunch of fools. I mean, that's an extremist, crazy group. I mean, it's like talking about some small element that doesn't deserve our attention. They can say wild and crazy things, but I think it just, again, plays to fears. And I think that's really the heart of the story here, is you have fears in the black community that, you know, a young boy, 18, shot unarmed 6 times, seems excessive, but I think there are fears in the white community that we are reluctant to talk about, you know, fears of crime that comes from young black males, disproportionate in numbers. And I can tell you as a black person, I mean, you know, it's mostly in the black community. I mean, more than, I think it's half of the murders in the country are committed against black people, but mostly it's 90% done by other black people. It's not done by cops.
Black on black crime, absolutely. Yeah. We've talked about the numbers extensively, but Juan, define what's going on in Ferguson. Tell me what the issue is in Ferguson.
Oh, I think the issue is fear that there's lack of transparency, that the local police, Bill O'Reilly called them Keystone, have not come forward and been clear about their version of events. And, you know, as Bill said about Congressman Lewis, everybody's concerned, black or white, Asian, Hispanic, that, you know, it just doesn't seem right that even if this was a large kid, and
so what I'm specifically saying, Juan, what I'm saying is this a problem with the Ferguson Police Department because of police corruption, or is this a racial thing? Because for all I've seen so far, it kind of divides right down the racial lines, that they're only black people who are protesting right now, or the vast majority are.
I think it's the vast majority. But I would say this to you, that when you look at the numbers, when you look at the fact that there are, you know, so few, I don't know if there are any blacks on the Ferguson Police Department.
3.
When you look at the lack of representation in the town, and then realize that the town is almost 3/4 black, then race becomes a big issue, because then it's about people not feeling that they are being heard or treated fairly.
Why is that, Juan? Why? Because you don't trust cops? Because you don't think a black cop or a white cop can be trusted to administer justice equally?
Not at all. Not at all. What it is, Eric, is that right now in this country, I think people properly, as I was pointing out to you, stereotype a lot of black people, but especially black men, as having some criminal intent because of the numbers. But that's ridiculous. If you saw me as someone you know well, but even my son, you'd say, hey, that's Juan's kid. You wouldn't say, oh, that's some black guy, he's threatening. But unfortunately, in this situation, that looks like the way the policeman reacted. It's what people are concerned about in Staten Island with the chokehold on the guy, or the lady that was pummeled out on the freeway in Los Angeles. That somehow it looks like, you know what, it's okay to do this, and people want to say stop.
All right, we're going to have to leave it right there, Juan. Thank you very much. Coming up, President Obama announcing today that while he returns to his vacation on Martha's Vineyard, he'll send Eric Holder to Ferguson to meet with community leaders firsthand. Will that bring calm to the situation or only make it worse? Ed Henry on that when we come back.